So you're a realtor and you want to avoid hiring what we call a deal killer.
Bruh.
Every real estate agent, whether you're a rookie or you're a veteran, knows that the home inspection can heavily influence a buyer's decision to purchase a home. Stick around to the end to find out how you as an agent can avoid hiring a deal killer. First, let's get one thing out of the way. There's a lot of factors that go into why a buyer may not proceed with the purchase of a home that may not have anything to do with the way that the inspector tackled the issues. Sometimes there's a lot of issues with the home. Sometimes the seller isn't going to fix any of those issues. Sometimes the buyer may use one of the things found on the inspection report as an excuse for not buying the home because they never intended to buy the home to begin with. It happens. Or buyers don't have the money to fix those issues. So we aren't talking about any of that because at the end of the day, it's an inspector's job to point out issues with the home. But here are a couple of tips that you as a real estate agent can use when you're looking to hire your next home inspector. Number one, look at reviews online. Pay attention to what clients say and to what real estate agents are saying about that inspector. Are they talking about how good of a communicator that they are? Do they mention anything about how at peace they feel about the decision to buy the home? Another thing to consider about reviews is that if an inspector has a lot of good reviews online, that shows you that they care enough to make a good impression on the client and the real estate agent. And you don't get there by killing a lot of deals. Number two, ask them about their communications process. On that subject, if you ask an inspector, what's your communication process with clients, and you get this, what? Red flag. An inspector should pride themselves on communication with their clients and with their agents, because only a small portion of the job is actually inspecting the home. A vast majority of the job involves communicating those issues to the client and the real estate agent. So ask them, how do you communicate with the client and how do you communicate with me as the real estate agent? Do you encourage the client to meet you at the property once you finish the inspection? If you can't do that, do you try to call the client? Can you do three-way phone calls with all of us so that you can explain the issues to all of us and we're on the same page? When it comes to inspectors, there's the skill of actually inspecting the home, and then there's the skill of communicating what they found to the client. And if you don't have both of those things, you're not going to be in the best position to be the best kind of inspector in the market today. You know, you might think about a doctor. A doctor's got to be really smart to understand what's wrong with you when they're diagnosing you with a particular problem. You might go to the doctor, they check you out, and then they find out that you've got a problem, and they're communicating that to you. But here's how they communicate it to you. It appears that due to your lack of substantial nutritional intake, you have developed hyperlipidemia. I suggest you limit your intake of lipid-heavy foods to alleviate this condition. What? Or you have high cholesterol, eat better. So at the end of the day, you can hire an inspector who is super technically savvy and that understands all the ins and outs of a home. But if they don't understand how to communicate those things to a client and to you, then you run the risk of hiring a deal killer. Not because they're intentionally trying to kill the deal, but because somewhere along the line, the severity of issues got lost in communication and they didn't explain things in a way that made sense to everybody. Number three, how long do they take to get the report back to you after they finish the inspection? What you want to shoot for is that they have the report to you the moment they're finished with the inspection or by the end of business that same day. 24 hours is fine, but you really want to have it the very same day. Because if you think about it, your buyers are going to be stressed out about finding out what's wrong with the home most likely. And you push their backs up against a wall during your option period because they didn't receive their report in time. And now they've got 5 hours left to decide whether or not these issues are a big concern, whether or not they're going to negotiate these things to be fixed, and whether or not they want to move forward with the purchase of the home. And it might be okay. It might not be a big deal, but because of a time constraint, it might make them perceive the situation a lot differently than had they received the report a lot sooner. So there you have it. That's 3 tips for you for the next time that you're looking to hire a home inspector so that you can avoid hiring a deal killer. If you found this video helpful, like it, share it with your friends, comment down below. It helps the algorithm, and consider subscribing to the channel for more tips on home inspections. And we'll see you in the next video.